The story begins on a quiet Georgia morning in 1847, when the dew still clung to the blades of grass, and the air smelled of magnolia and sin. The plantation known as Rosefield stood proud and deceitful, a mansion built on the bones of the enslaved, where wealth whispered from every corner, and secrets hid behind lace curtains. Its mistress, Lady Catherine Beaumont, was a woman of grace and command. She could charm a preacher on Sunday and break a man's soul by Monday. Her husband had died years ago, leaving her the land, the slaves, and a reputation for being both respected and feared. But beneath her porcelain skin and Sunday smiles, there lay a hunger darker than any sermon could cleanse. They said she ruled her plantation like a queen, yet her kingdom was built not just on cotton, but on flesh. She had 2 sons, Thomas and William, fine young men by the world's standards, heirs to a cruel empire. But blood runs strange when power and lust mix in the same veins. The story that the town never dared to speak aloud began in the fields, where the slaves sang songs of sorrow that reached heaven but never got an answer back. One night, during the thick of harvest season, when the moon hung low like a guilty witness, Lady Catherine ordered the overseer to bring her the strongest slave on the field, a man named Samuel. He was tall, scarred, and silent, his back carrying the story of every lash he'd ever endured. The lady said she needed new stock, a cruel term for breeding, for life born not from love but from command. But what shocked even the whisperers of the town was that she didn't choose Samuel for one of the slave women. No, she brought him into the main house, under her own roof. The next morning, the servants noticed the candle in her room still burned, the sheets stained with secrets no preacher could bless away. Then came the unholy rumor, the kind that spreads like smoke from a hidden fire. Lady Catherine wasn't just breeding her slaves for labor, she was breeding them with her own bloodline. Her sons, Thomas and William, were ordered to continue the work. Some say she told them it was God's will, that it would create stronger, better slaves. Others say it was madness born from guilt and grief, the twisted vengeance of a woman who had lost her soul long ago. But one by one, the women on the plantation began to give birth to children who bore uncanny resemblances to the young masters, light eyes in dark skin, hair too fine for the field. Those children became living proof of sin and silence. They were not slaves by choice, nor free by right, they were both and neither, trapped between bloodlines that the world refused to acknowledge. The lady called them her beautiful mistakes. The sons, too weak to defy their mother, carried out her command in shameful obedience. They did as they were told, even as their hearts rotted from the inside. And every time one of those children cried in the night, it echoed like a sermon of judgment over the plantation. Years passed, and the secret grew too heavy for the land to hold. Samuel, the same man who was first forced into that dark covenant, began to plan his vengeance. He had seen enough suffering to last 10 lifetimes, but it was not his own pain that broke him. It was watching those half-blood children being whipped and sold, torn from their mothers, from their fathers, from everything that made them human. One night, as thunder rolled over Georgia, Samuel made his move. He led a rebellion not with fire, but with silence. One by one, he buried the truth in the soil, literally. The overseer vanished, then a son, then another, then, at last, Lady Catherine herself. They found her days later near the cotton barn, face pressed to the earth she once owned, eyes wide as if she had finally seen hell open up beneath her. Her sons were gone, her house burned, her fields turned to ash. The white folks said it was a slave revolt. The slaves said it was God's hand. But those who knew the truth whispered it differently. They said it was the curse of blood defiled, the judgment of a God who had waited long enough. Even now, when the wind blows through that part of Georgia, they say you can hear the faint cries of those children, the ones born from sin and silence, echoing between the trees. And sometimes, if you stand near the ruins of Rosefield, you'll see a woman's shadow in the moonlight, still wandering, still searching for the sons she damned in the name of power. So before you judge the sins of the past, remember this story, my brothers and sisters. Remember that what's buried in darkness will one day rise in the light. Lady Catherine tried to build her empire with blood, but she forgot, every seed sown in sin grows thorns. And those thorns don't care about color, class, or name. They pierce everyone the same.